in the human form of life, what is the most valuable attainment that one can aspire for and one can achieve? In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Dravya yajna, tapo yajna, yoga yajna, tatapare, swadhyaya jnana yajnascha yatayaha samshrita vrataha, sarvepyete yajna vido yajna kshapita kalmashaha, yajna shishta amrtabhujo yanti brahma sanatanam. He says, in this world, there are millions of living beings rotating in the cycle of birth and death. And all of them perform some kind of austerity to promote themselves from one situation to another situation. For example, somebody works hard to make more money because with more money they can purchase sense gratification of different varieties. Say somebody is in India, they work hard to get into engineering or medical or chartered accountancy. They know that these are prestigious professions in India which yield good salaries. So the living entities work hard, and then they may get into this, and then naturally they reap some fruits, but the fruits are material and they are not extraordinary. Then there are others who give charity. Dravya Yajna, Krishna says. If you give 1 rupee to a Brahman, it comes back as 1,000 rupees in the next life. So you can multiply the beneficial effects of, it's like putting in a bank, you get with interest back, like that. So therefore there are other living beings who are engaged in charitable work, hoping that I can reap the material benefits later, either in the same life or in next lives, the fruits start returning. Uh, but there are others who perform even sacrifices to be elevated to the heavenly planets, because they not only want material benefits, they want a long duration of life and more healthy bodies, which will be tenacious and which can last for 10,000 years or 1 lakh years, like that. But in the Bhagavad Gita, also Lord Krishna says such people perform various sacrifices and get elevation to higher planets where they live long duration of life, and but at the end of which there is definitely death. So there are other siddhas who perform severe type of tapasya in the forest. Tapasya performance is more difficult than performing yajna. In yajna, you have to just give wealth, whereas in tapasya, one has to go to jungle and perform severe penance. They get elevated to siddha lokas, where they get mystic powers to walk on water, fly on sky, like our Durvasa Muni. They get great powers. So then they may enjoy a little more. They have more opulences of siddhis in their hands, and they enjoy much more than the other living entities with abundant freedom within the material world. But nevertheless, again, there is death at the end of their life. And there are jnanis who study the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutra, and they understand that you have to get out of this world, otherwise, you cannot be happy forever. There is a temporary situation in this world. So Krishna says, Om Ityekaksharam Brahma Vyaharan Mamanasmara Yaprayati Samadbhavam Yati Nastyatra Samshayah. There is one category of yogis who chant Om like that in a prolonged fashion, and they do the breath control, pranayama, asanas, and yoga mudras, and all those things they do. And by doing that, Lord Krishna says, Om is also my name only, Krishna says, because Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. But it is an impersonal representation of Krishna's name. So these people are able to get out of the material world by chanting Om, but they will be floating in the spiritual sphere called Brahma Jyoti, because their aspiration was to get liberated, but not to associate with the personality of Godhead. So just like sometimes a rocket gets out of the Gurutwakarshan or the Earth's gravitational pull, so it may go, but it is still hovering in the sky if it doesn't get a planet to land somewhere, isn't it? Similarly, these people get out of the material sphere, which is great, but that is not ultimately great because they don't enter into any particular planet. It's like saying that somebody came to Boston, but they didn't come to meet Radha Gopi Vallabha. So they are hovering somewhere in Boston. It's like that. So on the other hand, Krishna says, my devotees, what is the tapasya they do? He talks a lot about his devotees. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. He says, my devotees do not divert their attention to anything other than myself, Krishna says. Ananya, Anya means not anything else. They are not into all these different activities which I told you now. Their only focus is me, and they come together remembering me, remembering my pastimes, chanting my holy names, singing, dancing, worshipping me, offering me flower, fruit, and all these different offerings to me in great love. So their strength, the devotee's strength is love for me. They have respect for me, love for me, and they are eager to serve me, and they have no expectation of anything in return. You tell them to do this service for a million lifetimes, they will do, and they don't expect anything from me. Therefore, they occupy my heart. They easily win me and win my attention, and I personally preserve what they have, and I provide what they lack, and I also protect them. Kaunteya pradijanehi ame bhakta pranashati. I protect them. And seeing them in the material ocean, I personally go to deliver them. Tesham aham samuddharta mritya samsara sagarat bhavami na chirat partha maya veshita chetasam. Maya aveshita chetasam means they are so attached to me. How I can see them suffer in the ocean of material existence? I personally go in my Garuda. I lend my hand to pick them up and bring them back to my abode. So such devotees are very dear to my heart. Ananyachetaha satatam yo mam smarati nityashah tasyaham sulabha partha nityayuktasya yoginah. I am very easily available for those devotees. They don't do this severe austerities like what the jnanis, yogis, and karmakandis and all do. The austerity of devotee is very simple, but their wealth, the priceless wealth they possess, is their faith in the devotional process. So, keeping that faith in their heart, they perform this most joyful process of devotional service, which is performed susukam kartum aveyam. It is joyfully performed. Uh, and just like children are dependent on the mother and father, similarly, devotees depending on me with full trust in me, and they engage in devotional activities. Uh, and primarily, the most important activity they do is the chanting of the holy name. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. He's saying, always chanting my holy names, which means not only they chant 16 rounds in the morning, in the daytime, whatever activities they do, they combine it with the holy name. Some sannyasi is coming, they are welcoming, chanting the holy name. Sannyasi is going back, they are singing the holy name and sending off. They are eating prasad, they chant the holy name and eat prasad. They go to sleep, they chant the holy name and go to sleep. They are decorating the deity of the Lord. While decorating, they are hearing Krishna Katha, they are hearing Krishna Kirtan. Like that. Any devotee they see, they fold the palms and say, Hare Krishna, they chant the holy name. In this way, the devotees' lives and hearts are always surrounded around my holy name. And because they are thinking only and only of me, how I cannot think of them always? Because I am a great reciprocator. They love me and think of me, so I also love them and think of them. Being tightly bound in this loving relationship, I personally bring my devotee back to my abode, Krishna says. So, the path of Bhakti Yoga is very easy, but it requires transcendental faith. And what is the meaning of having faith? Meaning of faith means he says, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata. Devotee should do yatantascha means endeavor for Krishna's cause. Nobody can say that I love Krishna very much, but I will be sleeping till 9 o'clock in the morning. No one has to rise early in the morning and endeavor. But the endeavor is a spiritual endeavor. It is not like the materialist's endeavor in this world. Our endeavor is bringing flowers, making garland for Krishna, bringing clothes, making dresses for Krishna, bringing grocery, making sabji and all the eatables for Krishna, collecting wealth, Lakshmi, and bringing and running the movement of Krishna, uh, printing the books and distributing the literature in glorification of Krishna. Not only I want to glorify, I want all the living beings to glorify Him all over the world. In this way, a devotee whose life is centered around endeavors for pleasing Krishna, satisfying Krishna, that devotee has nothing else to worry. Simply chant the holy name and endeavor for the pleasure of the Lord. At the end of life, Lord says, I'll personally take my devotee back to my abode. हरिनाम प्रभु की